do anyway. It's going to show you like little windows that will refresh every couple of seconds about the sources it's looking at. This is kind of a feature that exists for a number of reasons. No one's expecting you to watch it in real time, but it is there if you want to vet what exactly it did and why it made the decisions it did, to the best that it can explain anyway. And they will also, all these tools will cite the sources on the web. So similar to what we just saw with Notebook LM, it's going to have like little links everywhere that'll point to the sources um, that it looked at to create your report. And so these are the main tools. You have Gemini, you have Perplexity, you have ChatGPT. We're going to use Perplexity for a couple reasons. So I'll let you guys read through this on your own. You can see what the stats are for how often you can do search and the different sort of differentiators they have. But we're going to use this one for two reasons. It works really fast, and you get a lot of queries relatively to these two, even on the free plan. Um, so this is one that is, and it's actually a very good tool. So we'll check it out in a second. So I'm going to show you the prompt. You all know I'm collaborating with AI on building a prompt. Uh, I collaborated with AI on this very long prompt. And then obviously I've edited it and made sure it was sort of clean and everything. So what we're going to do is we're going to build a media list, a media target list. And this is going to not just include sort of predictable journalists at major pubs, which, you know, most folks are probably familiar with. It's actually going to build an outreach list of influencers, which are probably a little less known. So it's going to be looking at like social media and lists of social media influencers when it's doing its research. So this is could be a very real thing, which is a food and wine magazine that's hosting a live event, and they want to collaborate with food and wine creators in a very specific region, upstate New York and Connecticut. So we're going to build an outreach list of 20 food and wine influencers, and this could easily be 30 or 40 or 50, with diverse demographics, content styles in all these areas, and are restricted to this region. Want them to be strong partners, brand safe partners for this major publication. So here we are. We're doing a top tier. We're doing our pop format here. Making sure it's a top tier influencer researcher. Objective, very simple. I need 20 food and wine creators. And then the parameters, like I said, you being very specific about what you want, what the criteria is, and how you want the output is always good. So you can see this. This is a bunch of factors to look at when it is looking for those influencers. Like which ones it's going to pick? Well, I'm telling you to prioritize these 8 things. And then I'm like, okay, well, how do I want this? Well, I wanted actually not a report, but I want a table. And I want it to fill in this table with all of these things. These are all going to be columns. I want, you know, obviously the name, the state, blah, 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 all these things, and then all this main social media data. So what's their main profile, how many followers, etc. And then it might not be able to find all that stuff. Now, and this is kind of a thing you might discover through iteration, but certainly the more you use AI, AI sometimes has trouble saying no, that it didn't find anything. And this is sometimes where hallucinations happen. So this is a very handy tip of like for any field where data isn't available, return NA. So that way that'll reduce the chance of it just making up something when it doesn't know. So I'm going to show you what this looks like. So let me see if I can get out of this and go over to Perplexity. So there's Perplexity. I'll zoom in a bit. So Perplexity is a online search engine. It's AI powered, and it used to be the only search engine, one of the only ones anyway, that it could actually use AI in search. Now, obviously, Google does it, ChatGPT does it, so most of the even Claude does it. Most of the major AIs do what Perplexity does now. It has this very simple interface. This is regular search, and we're going to use um, a research query. So that this is essentially what it calls research. It's actually using deep research or the equivalent of it on the other services. And I'm just going to paste in this whole prompt. And again, I've got even labels if anything is going to help it. And I'm just going to have it go. Now, at the same time, I'll do the same query in ChatGPT just to show you what this looks like. I seriously doubt it's going to finish before the class is over, but it might. And so I'm going to paste this in here too. Now remember this plus sign, which is a little path to a whole bunch of things. You see one of the first ones here, deep research. And I've got a number left, so I don't mind burning one. And I'm just going to do the same thing. And so watch what ChatGPT does, though. So Perplexity, like again, these aren't rationed as much So it just sort of dove into it. ChatGPT right here is like, I'm going to ask you some clarifying questions because, hey, you're using a deep research and we want to make sure it's great. And so I'm just going to answer it. One, no preference. Two, yes. Three, sure. And now it's away it goes. And there it is. So you're going to see this progress bar, and it's probably going to take roughly 20 to 30 minutes or something like that. That's usually what a ChatGPT one takes. And Perplexity is going, which is great. So this is still going to take some time. It's actually going pretty fast. So Perplexity usually does these in about 2 to 4 minutes. But honestly, I'm not that patient. I'm just going to show you the cake I baked earlier. So here it is. You can see this one here. I did this prompt earlier, obviously in anticipation of the class. So you can see what it's done. There's a lot of sources here. There's like 110, which is a lot for a perplexity search. Usually it's between something like 20 to 30, 20 to 25, something like that. And it's giving me a nice summary. And it's like, oh, wait a minute. It's giving me like a list. Wait a minute. I wanted a table. Well, it actually created a table. It actually created a file for me. But it actually has a lot of interesting notes. So it's highlighting certain creators that it's picked, and it's given me a little bit of notes on the content quality and brand alignment, which may or may not be helpful. But it's given me this great little file, which is really nice of it. Um, I also did this search earlier in ChatGPT, and I'll show you what both of these files look like in a sec. But ChatGPT did this, if I can find it. Creator search request, favorite wide creator search. And so here we go. So it gave me, it actually returned it in Canvas, which is their um, sort of editor. And so here it is. This is what this looks like. And you can see all this stuff it's built for me. So the name, state, the region, the
Hmm.
primary area, little biography I asked for. And again, see these are the citations I mentioned. So this is where its information's from. And it's giving me a profile, a handle, the number of followers, whether or not they're verified, etc. So basically return the table exactly to specification. And it's also given me some notes. This one took a while. When I did it earlier, it took about 30, 35 minutes, which is actually kind of long for ChatGPT. Whether that's convincing or not of it that it being more thorough, um, that's that's basically up to the human when you vet it. Just really quickly, I'll show you the file that got generated, if I can. Well, actually, you know what I can do? I can go here. I can click on it. It should show at least. Yeah, there it is. Good. You can see that on the side there. It's very similar. It's got all the fields. It's got this table. I
Hmm.
can load more. So there you go. And if you look here, you can see some of the names are very similar, but they're not all. There's definitely some overlap, but not entirely. So I know I went through that pretty quick. Obviously, we're a little short on time. I do want you guys to have a chance to goof around with some deep research in a similar way. We think this is a really strong one, particularly for um, public relations, because it's, as you know, illustration a, a big thing, and it's also a thing that takes a lot of time. It's a uh, large time suck. And I think with deep research, you can cut out a good chunk of that time. Again, you have to vet the list. There's always human verification, but a good chunk of it and get you started much, much quicker. So we have another Google Doc here that outlines this activity. It's obviously very similar, but with different events. So these are all real events that are happening, and generating some outreach lists for these is something you can do, or roll your own. I'm going to drop this in the chat. And as I sort of get the breakout rooms ready, because we don't have a ton of time left, does anyone have any quick questions before we jump to the activity?
I put a couple in the chat.
Cool. Is there a way to export the info into Excel or a Google spreadsheet? Absolutely. In both cases, you can download. If you don't, if you can't for whatever reason, if it's not, you find it's not really in a downloadable format, literally copy and pasting is super easy. You can actually just do this, copy, paste, and you can paste that into an uh, Excel workbook. It's not going to be super neat. Some of these like citations are going to be annoying, but other than that,
There's also a
yeah,
little arrow right there in the upper right-hand corner
right
of your
here,
screen. Yeah, that should give you what you need. Download.
download PDF or Word. It's kind of nuts that it's Word as opposed to Excel. But in both cases, it's usually a good way to do it. On the other hand, the Perplexity gives you the CSV, which is probably a little more convenient. I'll bet it's done. I'll bet this one's done. Yep, did it. Syracuse. So it gave me a slightly different breakdown here. So that's good. From more notes and obviously a very similar list. Next question. Can it hyperlink to each person's social feed? Ah, that is a great question. So yes. In this case, you saw, sorry, I wanted to go to ChatGPT. You saw it's here. And so it's going to, it actually linked their profiles. Um, in the table, you would just need to specify that. And if you forgot to specify it and you like the table, there is a way to extract that or build the links. And I will show that in a future class. Why did it only return 20? I only asked for 20. Exactly. Could have been 30, could have been 40, could have been 50. Depends on what you can manage in terms of as a human when you're vetting the list. I'll give you well, actually, I'll do this. I'll wait until after you're done the activity. I'll give you a kind of a tip on that. No problem, Simone. All right. We only have a few minutes left, so it's
Say
going to be a super